BBC.
And now witness. 20 years ago, a Nigerian feature film, Living in Bondage, was made for the country's growing home video market. It became a smash hit and is credited with launching the phenomenally successful Nigerian movie industry known as Nollywood. Alex Last reports.
It's 1992, and in Lagos, Nigeria, actor Kanayo Kanayo is hired to star in a new feature-length video film.
We were able to tell our own story in our own language, to our own people, in the way they understand, with the mannerisms they can associate with, the conducts they can display, and so on. It was different because it told a story that people have always heard of, a story that people could relate with, but never saw it in picture.
That's because Nigerian films were rare by the 1990s. Celluloid was expensive. Insecurity in the cities meant audiences didn't go to the cinema after dark. But the new home video market was booming. At the time, only imported videos were widely available. Local productions had been attempted without much success. Then a local producer, Kenneth Nebue, put up the cash for an Igbo language film. Actors like Kanayo, who had been in soap operas on state television, were first in line.
Some of us were already popular from the soap operas and so on. So it was like one tell another. There's no official publication. If you hear, you tell me. If I hear, I tell you. So we heard there was going to be an audition for a new film. And then some of us were given scripts to read, and immediately we were given assigned roles. That's exactly how it took place. This was in Lagos. We were not as comfortable as we were then, so we were willing to go to any extent to act. It was a passion. We wanted to just deliver the talent.
Called Living in Bondage, the film was the story of an aspiring young man, Andy, who is persuaded to sacrifice his wife in return for the promise of great wealth. He becomes rich, but is haunted by his dead spouse.
It was a very touchy story of somebody who wanted money at all costs, sacrificing the wife to a deity and to make money. People always heard of such story before then, but never seen on TV. So it was so emotional. How could a woman be so kind to the husband and end up being used for a ritual or something like that? What this story goes to show, good will always prevail over evil.
Kanayo himself played the role of Chief Omego, a wealthy local businessman. In some ways, the man Andy aspired to be.
The name Chief Omego means the one who makes money, the one who has the money. The script was in English. You have to break it down to Igbo. So you break it down the way you want to break it down, the way you want your audience to appreciate you. So I broke it down. I brought some dictum, some slangs people could relate with.
Like what?
Like Biakambago Kuso, Igbo,
Which means?
It's a very romantic way of telling a woman, I want to have you. It's very romantic, Mbago Kuso, kind of, You're trying in your own little way to paint a picture of a woman to imagine what you could be like as a man.
Far removed from the budget and production values of Hollywood, it was shot in Lagos and the surrounding countryside in 6 weeks on video cameras. There was no money to pamper the actors.
It's not like in the developed world, as of 1992, where you have maybe porter cabins for each actor, and an actor retires to his porter cabin and is sent for when you need him again. There were no porter cabins, so you were exposed to mosquitoes, you were exposed to rodents and so on if you were shooting outside and so on. There was no comfort next to you. I remember when we were shooting one of the temple scenes, I became so sick, but then it wasn't funny. You could be discast from a role because you got sick out of no fault of yours. So when I remember these things, I now see the background where we were coming from. It was a very dictatorial background, arbitrary, undemocratic. But then we have scaled all through those hurdles, and that's what you have as